What is up, YouTube? This is Kyan Cannon from Arguably Georgia Sports, here with another podcast. Today we are going to be discussing all the FBS teams in Georgia. That includes Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Georgia Tech, and UGA. So we're going to jump right in and start with Georgia State, who qualified for their first ever bowl game last year. I thought that was pretty neat, even though they lost to San Jose State. A good year last year, but besides that, really a terrible history. How do you see them doing this year?
Well, there's not much to say. For Georgia State fans aren't generally watching football. If they like Georgia State in a sport, it's generally not football, because that's just not what they're great at. So
It really is a basketball school. Yeah, we're gonna go through the schedule, starting off with Ball State. Has had some success. Not a great team. This is at home. I think Georgia State starts out well with a win. Do you?
yeah, I believe so too. Ball State, you don't hear much about them. Not much to tell. Next on Air Force at Air Force, and I think that's going to be a tough game for both teams. But I do believe Air Force is a stronger team here, and they're going to pull out with a win.
Yeah, I hate to say it. I like Georgia State, but Air Force is a good team. Then at Wisconsin. Now this would be awesome if Georgia State went over to Wisconsin and whooped them. I don't think that's gonna happen though. We'll be watching the game. I'm gonna have to go with Wisconsin.
Yeah, I, I there's no way from that good of a team against Georgia State. I don't think they can do it, but that would be one of their best games if they could win that.
Yeah, and next up, at Appalachian State, I do know someone who went there. So I guess I kind of like Appalachian State, but I think Georgia State wins this one. Oh, and one more thing, I'd like to point out, what is up with these ticket prices?
Oh yeah,
This is Georgia State football. There are 17 tickets left against Georgia Southern for $113 minimum.
That's a little crazy. Georgia Tech last year, I think you said that they had a game that was $6 per ticket.
Yeah, it's correct. 2 years ago against Alabama A&M, $4. Wow, that's outrageous. But sorry, State fans. You're not, if you haven't bought tickets, you're probably not gonna buy anymore. So I think Georgia State beats Appalachian State, even though it's at Appalachian State. Do you agree?
Yes, I do. And then their next game, so that leaves them 2-2. Not a bad year so far. On Texas State, which is going to be a difficult game.
I don't know. Texas State just not a good team. This is at Georgia State. I'm going with State. Georgia State.
I think Georgia State pulls out with the game in the end, but it's going to be close.
Interesting. Then at Troy, never really had too much success, even though this is at Troy. I think Georgia State wins this. I think we got them off to a 4-2 start, which is surprising considering, especially the 2013 campaign where we went 0-12. I think Georgia State wins this one.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And then UT Martin.
Tennessee Martin. Yep. Yeah. Kind of a basketball school. Not. I think this is gonna. I think I'm gonna visit Georgia State too. I think they take the next step and they become a regular bowl team. Do you agree?
I do. And then on to South Alabama, and I believe that's the game against Georgia Tech. So
yeah, we didn't mention them in our SEC podcast, didn't we?
No, I don't think we did.
Well, they played a couple SEC teams, didn't they?
I think they did. Anyway, South Alabama. I'm going with South Alabama, actually.
Well, you know what? South Alabama has some good history. Has some good teams. I think they'll have a good team this year. I think South Alabama wins this game, especially at South Alabama. Then a homestand. We get 3 straight home games against Arkansas State, who can prove to be very dangerous. I'm gonna go with Arkansas State here.
Yeah, me too, and that'll leave them 5-4. And this next game is a big game on determining if they'll make a bowl game. And if they can, that would be a big year for them. So I think that's key. If they can beat, I think they'll lose to Arkansas State, but
UL Monroe, who, they had one big upset. I think it was against Arkansas a few years ago in one magical year. But besides that, they've been just a horrible football program. I'm sorry if there are any of you fans out there of UL Monroe. Georgia State wins this one.
yeah, it's not. Just don't have a good history. Not a football school. So then, now they're 6-4.
Mm-hmm.
So if they win these, well, really anything that happens, they're pretty likely to go into a bowl game. So we're pretty much projecting them to have a pretty good year. Okay, next on Georgia Southern.
Too tough a team.
Yeah, I'm going with Georgia Southern here. And then to Idaho. What do you say?
Oh, Idaho is a horrible team. I'm sorry. I think they were 1-11 last year. I think State pulls this out. So
I actually have to disagree with you there. There we're gonna see an upset by Idaho, and shocking, but I don't think they can keep up that good of a streak for that long. For their team, for other teams that wouldn't be that great, but for Georgia State, we're having a great year for them. So all you Georgia State fans, this is a year to be looked forwards to, according to us.
So now we're gonna move on to Georgia Southern. Great. I was very happy with the season last year. I don't think anyone was expecting first year of bowl eligibility, and they go 9-4, was it? And whoop Bowling Green's butts in the GoDaddy Bowl. I'm looking to a good year for this team again. Losing their coach though.
Well, yeah, that's a tough break, but I think they're gonna do well this year too. So first they're going to Savannah State, who is actually, I believe, right by Georgia Tech, right?
Yeah. Right by Georgia Southern actually, but Savannah State not a good team. This is a win for Georgia Southern.
They're not really a sports college at all. So then to South Alabama,
who we talked about, just a good team, I think would be Georgia State, not Georgia Southern. I think Georgia Southern goes 2-0 so far.
I believe so too. Next on to UL Monroe,
who we also talked about, had one great magical year. This is very similar, the same conference. I think this is a win for I think this is definitely a win for Georgia Southern. Yep.
Yeah, I think so too. But this is crazy. They're going pretty well this year. So start 3-0, and then West Michigan.
West Michigan had, I think, Wait, I'm gonna look at this real quick. I think West Michigan had something like 3 bowl game appearances or something. So yeah, I think this is a win for Georgia Southern. And then, as we talked about, Arkansas State, very tough team at Arkansas State. I'm gonna give this to Georgia Southern. I think they're spoiler alert. I think they're Sun Belt champions this year.
Yeah, I think so too. So is the next game Georgia Tech?
Yeah.
Wow. That's probably their hardest game of the schedule.
I believe
Ole Miss. Ole Miss is the harder later on.
Whoa! I don't know about that.
Ole Miss is way better than Georgia Tech. There's no question. Anyway, so Georgia Tech wins that game, no question. So then, now they're at 4-1.
So yeah, but Georgia Tech is a 5-1 actually. In my book, I think. So yeah, Georgia Tech, very solid team. In our ACC coastal prediction, we both had Tech winning, I believe. So yeah, New Mexico State, this is a win for Georgia Southern again. Georgia Southern, I think, like I said, again, they're a very good team this year.
Yeah, especially compared to what they normally are. So then to Appalachian State, I don't think I'll have to ask you about that one. I think Appalachian is just not strong enough. Now to Ole Miss, which I count as a loss because Ole Miss is a strong SEC West team, and they're not going to lose to Georgia Southern. So what do you think?
Yeah, Ole Miss, good team. I think Georgia Southern puts up a fight, but this is Ole Miss's game. And I think they go undefeated through the rest of the year. What would you say?
Yeah, for the last 3 games, LA, Lafayette, Georgia State, and Troy. I think they'll win those last 3. Now I believe we're going to Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, who coming off a disappointing 2015 season, I think that they rebound this year. What would you say?
They'll definitely do better than they did last year. But in my opinion, it's a long time for them to get a new coach. Anyway, so Georgia Tech.
Okay, first, before we start that, rewind to that coach thing. You realize that if Georgia Tech gets a new coach, they're going to have to re-recruit everybody. Because Paul Johnson recruited every single player on that roster. They're designed for running the option. If a new coach comes in, decides he wants to run his own way, either they're going to have a team full of freshmen, A, or B, they're going to be horrible. So I don't think Paul Johnson's going anywhere for a little while. And then our first game is in Dublin, Ireland, at 7:30 a.m., which we will hopefully be watching together. Boston College. Do you think Boston College, who had last year one of the best defenses in the country but worst offense, I think Tech wins this one. Even though I think the time does affect them.
Yeah, I believe so too. Just check just in case. If you want to go more in depth on Georgia Tech, you can check out our ACC Coastal video, and that'll explain it a little more in depth, and the rest of the ACC Coastal. So then their next game is Mercer, which is actually right by our house. I think they beat Mercer, not a great team. And
Mercer's a good basketball school. I remember when they beat Duke in the tournament a few years ago.
Yeah, but they're just not a football team. So then Vanderbilt.
We talked about this before in 2 other videos. This is a very important game. It's an interesting game. ACC, SEC. I do think that Tech pulls us out.
I believe so too. I hate to say it, but I'd love Vanderbilt to win this game, but they're just not gonna happen. Next on Clemson.
I believe I left this one blank, if you remember. It's come on. I think Tech puts up a fight. I'm gonna say it. I think they lose. I'm sorry. I think they lose.
All right, and now their next game against Miami. My Canes are winning this game against Tech.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a good game though. It's gonna be a very good game.
I had Tech winning. This is at home for Tech. Tech just I'm sorry, Miami. I think they're gonna be a good team, but I think Tech wins this one. Maybe a little bit biased, like I said in the video, but I honestly think Tech wins this one. Then we have Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. I think you'd agree with me. I think Tech wins this one.
Yeah, I believe so too. Georgia Southern, as we said, just
not complete enough to beat this team.
And then to Duke, who can show some fire at times. And I'm gonna go with the upset here, actually.
I believe you said that last time too. I'm gonna go with Tech. Next up is at North Carolina, which I believe I actually said Tech lost in this one. North Carolina, I really think they'll do well this year.
I believe so too. And then I just don't see Tech winning this game. Then to Virginia Tech, who last year, I think Tech barely beat them.
No,
by 2 points.
No, it was the other way around.
Yeah,
Virginia Tech
won by 2 points or 3, and I was at that game, and it was a very good game. I think Tech got like 2 picks. Anyway, so then I think I'm gonna pick Tech there. Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Georgia Tech too. I think, and then Virginia. Virginia. I think this is a win. This is. Don't remind me of that. This is a win for Georgia Tech. I think this is a shocker. I think we both have Tech. I think you have them winning like 8 games because I think I know who you're gonna pick in the next one. But I have Tech going 10-2. How about that? I mean, the schedule's not that hard. They have some bumps.
Well, they have. Actually, I already had them losing 3 games, so they're gonna be. I'm picking them to go 8-4 because their next game is Georgia, and I don't think Tech's gonna do it this year. They have been good enough some years, not this year. I don't think they're good enough to do that. Even though they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. Georgia just cruised through them last year, but this year it's going to be a little tougher. But I still think Georgia will win. Last home game, though, was a disaster.
Next up and last, we got UGA.
You never made a pick on that last
I
game.
know. I did, but I did in the ACC video. I forgot to in the SEC video, but so I believe Tech will win that one. So versus North Carolina, and I believe you had something to say.
Yes.
The beginning.
Last time I was a little off and may have made a few bad calls, so I'm gonna try to do better this time. So against UNC, I still think Georgia's gonna win this game. It's gonna be really close. It's at Georgia though, so that's a plus. I think Georgia wins just by the home field advantage. Otherwise, it would have been a good game.
Well, it's not home. It's not. Well, it's in Georgia. It's in the dome. But yeah, I think North Carolina wins this one. Like I said before. Then we're gonna move on to Nichols University. They're not dimes. They're not pennies. They're the nickels. I believe that, like I said, guys, I'm changing it. If we can get 10 total likes on all our videos combined before this game, I will buy him all the gear. So please, I want to do that so bad. And
then he'll post it on our Instagram.
Next up is Missouri. I had them losing. I had the upset. This is at Missouri. I know a lot of Georgia haters will be mad at me, but I have Missouri winning this game still. I'm sorry. What do you say?
There's no way. I mean, Georgia just wins this game. There's no. And then Ole Miss, who
I had Georgia losing to.
I'm gonna pick Georgia losing to Ole Miss, and then to Tennessee, who last time I picked them Tennessee to win, except this time I'm gonna change and I'm going with I'm going with Georgia over at Tennessee. So just a little flip there.
You know what? Believe it or not, I'm gonna flip my pick. I'm gonna have Georgia over Tennessee. It's a surprise. Then at South Carolina, which has been a close game, no matter where the standings have been. I mean, like how good the teams have been recently. Do you see them? Do you see South Carolina possibly even like coming within reach?
I mean, they'll try. I mean, they really hate Georgia, so this is one of their games to win this year, but it's not. I don't see it happening.
And I've heard it said that South Carolina, like Clemson, is kind of like Georgia Tech, South Carolina. It's just they meet every year. It's kind of a rivalry, but it's not the biggest rivalry. And no matter how bad or good, it's always a good game. Then we have Vanderbilt. Georgia will run away with Vanderbilt. Just not a good team. Would you agree?
Yeah. They've beat them in the last 10 years or more than that.
No. Remember that one game where didn't Vanderbilt score a touchdown late in the game to win that game or something? Vandy won 3 years ago. But besides that, yeah, never won. Vandy has never won under their new coach.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then against Florida. Last time you had Florida winning, and I had Georgia winning, but I'm picking Georgia again.
I'm picking Florida again. Florida, good team. Florida, a good team. Then we get Kentucky. You were at this game last time. Last time it was at Kentucky.
It was at Kentucky, and the first the very first play Georgia received, and they had a touchdown off the kickoff, and that was crazy. I think they're going to fight with fire again and beat Kentucky. They had several such plays during that game. Next against Auburn, just never, you just never can tell how they're going to be. So
Well, this is another one of those South Carolina type games. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to go with Georgia, though. I think you'd agree.
I do. And then on
University of Louisiana Lafayette.
yeah, that's not going to be a good game. If you're looking to buy the cheapest tickets, go for that game. Or the Nichols. Yeah, go for Nichols. But if you're trying to find a good game, don't go to that one. Go to the Georgia Tech game.
Yeah, which you were at last time. It was
Probably, and I'm going to be this time, so you may go too. Anyway, but that was awful last time at home. They just weren't able to pull it out with that 53-yard field goal. It rattled them a little bit, and then with the interception to Malcolm Mitchell, just not a good game for Georgia in the end.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I'm going for Tech. I'm not just going for them. I think they win this. And then I think there was one last team we wanted to squeeze in.
I don't know.
Notre Dame. Weren't we going to do that?
No.
Just to cover the independent. Okay, well maybe we'll do that.
We'll do an independent teams video next. So if you want some more ACC videos, go to our ACC Coastal. We'll soon be coming out with the Atlantic. And you can check out our SEC East and SEC West videos. Thank you for viewing.
Yep, and please like and subscribe. Thank you.